know this is a little convoluted tonight. We'll do the best we can to get through it. So first of all, we have our 7 o'clock continued public hearing for the application for the retail marijuana establishment at 160 Air Road. We're going to continue this to 7 o'clock on the December 10th. We'll make a motion to approve to change the meeting till December 10th at 7 p.m.
I'll second.
Jerry seconds. All those in favor? Jeff? Anna? I heard an aye. Jerry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. I think Jeff's muted, yeah.
Yeah.
And aye.
All right, I got you. All right, so that's the first of the board business. We have anything else we need to discuss before 7:05? Lauren?
No, I don't think so.
So I'm going to hold the 7:05, that discussion. We're going to be off by 7:25, all right? We have 20 minutes for that, if we need that much. And then we'll go into executive session.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Chris Heap's here to walk you through the 7:05, and Ibria's here for the 7:30 executive session.
Exactly. So I'd like to continue this like we did the last one. We're just going to discuss the conditions of approval for Hager Homestead. We've closed the hearing. I don't really want to take any more input from anybody. I just want to go over everything with the board and with Chris with the final conditions of approval, and hopefully we'll move on from that. Hopefully. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, go.
Anna, are you all right with that? We're going to discuss it, but nobody else. Anna?
Yes.
Okay. No, just checking. Jeff?
Yep.
Okay. I'm all right with that. So in a couple of minutes, we're still a little early. We'll start that. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. Yeah, he's still muted, a little even muted.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Jerry.
Chris, are you going to stay on for the executive session as well?
I hadn't planned on it. I can stick around if you'd like me to, but I had not planned on hanging around for that.
I think
Ibria's here for that
yeah,
part.
Rita, yeah. So I think you guys have all talked. You're all in agreement. So we'll just let her run with the ball. How's that?
That was the plan.
All right, we're going to let her make a few bucks somehow anyway. You know, we can't give it all to you.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, I don't know which clock to go by. I'm still at 7:03. So. Temperature was nice out in the tent out in the backyard. Anyone want to come out and have the meeting out here? You're more than welcome.
Okay.
Buy the cigars. Anna, you want to come join me one of these times? I know. I'll make it so appealing, right?
So appealing.
Anyway, hope everybody's well. Okay. I gotta wait another minute anyway. Chris, what time do you have? You have Greenwich Mean right there. Is it?
I got 7:03 on my computer.
I know that's what it is on my computer.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Nothing else, Myron? We're good. I'm just filling, you know.
Yeah, we're filling. Let's see what happened today. The Littleton Station Area Committee met with our consultant, Peter Flinker. Peter walked through the questions he needed in order to develop design criteria for the Littleton Station area. He's going to provide a draft to the committee in a couple of weeks. And so we're within probably a month or so of bringing that to the planning board and doing public outreach on that in, January, February.
I sort of sat in for that, but it's hard to Zoom at 80 miles an hour in a car. Maybe I went too fast for the Zoom. I kept losing you guys. I could hear you, but you guys couldn't hear me. So I slowed down to 60 and it didn't help. I still lost half of it. But I saw the presentation. I thought everything went well. And like you said, hopefully we'll have something that everybody can share in the next month, 6 weeks, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell you what, it's nice having the tag team include Joe Layden having
Yes.
gone through this process already.
Yes, Joe's is a wealth of knowledge. Very,
Yeah.
very good to have him on the team.
Mhm.
Anyway, wow, we have 1 million people. Anyway, we should get $1 for each one of these. We could sell out, I think. Anyway, okay, so I have 7:05 now. Chris, do you have 7:05?
Sure, I do. No, I actually
Yes,
do it.
it is.
No, I
Yep.
actually do.
It's 7:05.
All right. So we have last we met, we had the conditions of approval. I know, Chris, you want to bring us up to speed? I know you and Attorney Dombrowski have gone back and forth with this, and Bobrowski, excuse me, I butchered your name. And just tell us where we're at with this and let us speak amongst ourselves.
Sure. So after the board last met a couple weeks ago, and had included, at that point, you had a draft decision in front of you, and the board, talked that night about some additional conditions it wanted to see imposed, and I believe voted to approve the project subject to the conditions that it had discussed that night. Almost immediately after that meeting, we heard, I think, both through email and a call that I received from the developer's attorney, some real concern about some of those conditions that you had discussed at your last session, and specifically some concern that they were going to either perhaps even lead to an appeal of the decision. So because the developer believed that it wouldn't be able to proceed with the project with those conditions in place. So I had a couple conversations with the developer's attorney, Mark Bobrowski. He has now shared their own proposed version of the decision with some revisions that they believe would make the project one that they could go ahead with and everybody could walk away happy from. So really, I think tonight's meeting is just to discuss perhaps some additional revisions to the decision before it goes final, in the hopes of producing a decision that the developer will allow the developer project that it believes it can build and obviate the need for anybody to file an appeal. So specifically, the conditions that are at issue are, from the developer's perspective, are the board voted for the 150% AMI units to include, I believe, a 10-year restriction period where those units would need to be not only be sold at 150% of AMI, but then would be restricted at that level for another 10 years after that. What the developer has proposed in its version of the decision is that the 150% AMI units would be sold at that level the first time, and then restricted for, I believe, a period of 5 years after that point. So the developer's objecting to the 10-year restriction, but suggesting as an alternative that they would be restricted for 5 years.
Okay, and the reasoning being for the 10 to 5 is the resale value, the potential resale value of it. That it would be harder to remarket those units because there's no great appreciation over the first 5 years. They're too close to the market rate of the other units.
I believe the rationale is that the 150% units wouldn't be tied up with income, or as the developer would have it, wouldn't be tied up with income or asset verification, which can cause some delay. And I guess a belief that the restriction is there isn't a suggestion that the heavier the restriction, the more difficult it makes things for them to work with their lender.
Okay. What does the board have to say about that? I'll start with Anna. Your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that are that we discussed it as a board last time and we agreed to 10. If this is so tough, it would be great to see a letter from the lender saying that it's going to be too tough. All we have right now is perception that it's going to be tough. So
Good point. Jerry?
Is that true?
Is what true?
It's just a verbal. This is a verbal exchange. There's no backup for the 5 first 10.
Chris?
I am passing along messages that have been shared through the developer's attorney. I don't have any independent understanding of the lender's process myself.
Okay. Now remember, we refused to allow them to speak, and I'm going to continue that for this one because we didn't let them speak in the last one. We really don't want them. Unless you guys want to open it up, I'm just trying to keep it the way it was.
Mark,
Yes, Lisa.
I actually would like to hear their rationale for this.
Okay.
So I would like to hear them speak.
Okay. Anyone else? Jeff, do you want to hear?
Well, I can see just one practical consideration in this, since this is senior housing. It may be that someone who buys into it buys out completely, within the 5 years. And if it's a 10-year thing, I think it's likely that there's going to be a turnover, and that they would have to go through this whole verification process again. I'm not hung up on this.
You're not hung up on the 5 to 10. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not either, Mark.
Okay.
I think that the effort to sort of impede a flip is accomplished by the 5 years, and I think it's a valid concern. So that's the way I feel.
Jerry, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I don't honestly know enough about it one way or the other. So without having anything, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know anything about it. 5 versus 10. What's the difference?
I think we asked for 10. They've come back at 5. We're in the middle of trying to mediate this to move it forward. If the rest of the board doesn't really have an issue, if Delisa doesn't and Jeff doesn't, and I'm like you, Jerry. Unless we want to open it up and ask them why, or we decided on our own. I think, and they keep telling us it's from the lender is concerned about the potential for first-time home buyers to not be able to sell it within 5 years.
First-time home buyers?
Well, I mean, first-time buyers. First-time buyers to
First buyer of the units.
it gives them some flexibility. The other thing is we're trying to sell this to older people. So, what happens if somebody buys it and then 6 years later they die, and then what happens?
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say more delicately. Yeah, I think that's a real issue, and then the group would have to go through this certification process again.
Yeah, and by that time I'm sure they're out of it. So I understand where Anna's coming from because it was 10 years. We are trying to negotiate this so that we can move forward and they can have a project they can market and start trying to get financing. I just assume if the only stumbling block that we have is the 5 years, I just assume them off of it and just give them the 5 years and move forward if the rest of the board feels that way.
Is that the only sticking point? That's it?
Why don't we let Chris finish then? So why don't we?
That's I think one of two. They were also looking to, in addition for the 150% units, looking to eliminate any asset limits for the incoming buyers. The rationale being provided there is that it can be very difficult for the seller to, well, rather backing up. If we're talking about somebody who's over 55 and making 150% of AMI, it's likely that they do have some assets in their possession. So the developer is concerned that if we have an asset limit for the 150% units, it could render it very difficult for them to find a qualified buyer.
That makes more sense to me because that seems
Yes.
to be true.
Yeah, like what if somebody sold their house? They sold
Right.
to buy this.
No, I knew someone who wanted to go into something like this but had assets and was but not a whole lot of income and was unable to. And I think we should open it to
Okay, so I guess we're all in agreement with that. So the only thing back is the 5 or 10. And if that's all it's going to take to move this forward, I say we go with the 5%. And you know, wish them the best, and hopefully we're going to get. Oh, one last thing. I do want to
5%?
5 years.
5 years. I mean,
5 years.
5 years. I do want to make sure that we. One of the issues was trying to make sure that 60% of the affordable units were going to be offered to Littleton residents first. That was part of our condition. I'm going to probably defer to Myron on that. What? No?
We can't hear you, Mark.
Oh, sorry. Am I still muted?
Oh,
You're
no, I
cutting
can
out.
hear you.
I
I can hear you.
I hear you fine, yeah.
Delisa, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, sorry about that. So we in our discussion on our deliberations, we talked about 60% of the affordable units being set aside for Littleton preference first.
Mhm.
And I just want to make sure that we discuss that and we all understand that. And I think the best way, Myron has had a lot of experience in this. I know you're going to hate me tomorrow, Myron, but I think we leave this issue up to you to how to figure out how long the marketing period would be and how to go about doing it. We don't want a lottery if we can help it, but just make sure that 60% of the residents in Littleton have a shot at these.
Mhm. Yeah, we know we have to have the lottery process for the 60% and the 80% units. The developer has outlined what they would do for local advertising early in the marketing and sales process for the other affordable units. So I'm pleased with what they have proposed.
It
Okay.
says shall be subject to a local preference consistent with federal fair housing law.
Yeah.
For the 60 and 80, correct.
Yep.
Mhm.
Good.
And what about for the others? Because 60% of the units would be 6 units.
For the other units, what they have proposed is a marketing strategy that targets Littleton.
Littleton first, and then if
Where does it say that?
It says shall be sold by conventional means, which they will market, provided that the buyers are income verified by a third party agent.
Mhm.
That, and I think if we want those to be local preference, I believe we need to maybe add some language back in.
Yes.
well, I want to add language in that for at least the first flush, that 60% of the Littleton residents have a shot at it. If after whatever the time frame has to be with the state, that no local residents or no Littleton residents want to buy it, that it could be opened up to whoever is interested in buying it.
So just to be clear, that's 60% of 8 affordable units. We're talking about 5 of the units ranging between 60 and 120. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Maren, does that sound right to you?
I think that works.
So there's 2 one-bedroom units at 120. We could say one of them, and 2 two-bedroom units at 120. We could say one of those. We have the two previous we've talked to, and then there would be there's a one-bedroom unit at 100%, which maybe would be subject to a local preference, and that would be 5 units.
Yep.
Or I wonder if we allow them a little more leeway in exactly which units go local.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
As long as it's 60%, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. So we'll get that in there somehow, Chris.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
excuse me. I'm just looking at the red line document, and we just talked about, let's see, that the no asset limitations would only apply to the 150%. But in the document, it looks like it should also be for the 100 and 120 AMI.
They do say that, yes. And I think they said that because it's a different category. And I don't have a problem with that either, because I think it's going to be hard to find people 55 and older without. I mean, I think the limitations are like $40,000 in assets. That's,
Yeah.
that's pretty low.
Well, we could also set our own limits if we wanted to. It doesn't
Why?
have to be that way.
Why?
I'm just saying we could.
Yeah, okay. But I have no,
Yeah.
I think part of the reason we're trying to do this is that there are a lot of older residents in Littleton that have these big old houses that have had them for 50 years, and now everybody knows what the market's like in Littleton. It's very hot, and they want to downsize. And I don't think we should penalize them if they're going to make money selling their house that they pay taxes on for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever, and come into something smaller. And they want to buy one of these. I don't think we should do anything to preclude any Littleton resident who wants to buy these to buy them. So I guess that's where I'm coming from with the limitations on the assets.
I agree. So I'm totally fine with no asset limitations on 100%, 120 and 150.
Jerry, are you okay with that?
Yeah. Assets, not income.
Yep. And Jeff, you're okay with that?
Yes.
So Chris, I think we've pretty much hit the high points.
I think we're good.
So
The only other blank was the details of the conservation restriction. When is that going to be filled in?
Yeah, the other changes that you had requested at the last hearing, I did not get to those because I knew we were in the middle of discussions.
Okay.
I will get those.
okay. So basically, we have everything. We're ready to vote the conditions, the disputed conditions. I'll entertain a motion from the board to approve the 5-year restriction on the two 150s at for the resale value. The no asset limitations on the units from, what did we say, 100 to 150?
Yep.
And the 60% are as best they can do for a local preference for Littleton residents through their marketing program and through whatever other outreaches they use to get the word out to the Littleton residents. And that's about all our conditions, right?
Can I add to that last one that the documentation, the marketing, whatever is used actually says Littleton? Because as I recall from a previous conversation with Marin related to Spectacle Pond, that because we didn't put in Littleton specifically, therefore it wasn't necessarily
All right.
marketed that way.
Target marketed to Littleton residents first.
The language needs to be in there.
Okay. With all of those, I'll ask for a vote. Jerry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Elisa?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Mr. Borowski, for all your hard work getting this done. Thank you, Bruce, as well, and everybody else on the team. And
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
It's so long, but I think we have a good project, and I'm hopeful that Littleton residents will use it, and we wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good to see y'all.
All right, so we're still on. You can let everyone else leave, Maren, if you'd like.
Well, that's up to them.
What?
Yeah, that's up to the individuals.
Yeah, they can stay, but we're going to enter into executive session shortly
Mm-hmm.
in about 7 minutes. So
Yep. So I gave you the checklist that we need to go through.
I got it. I printed it.
Awesome.
See? I printed it. I haven't even burnt it yet. You guys are so particular. Are we going to come off and go back on, Maren, or are we just going to close it out to everybody else?
We have to, everybody has to, after you go through the checklist and vote to go into executive session, everybody has to log off and we all have to log into the executive session Zoom.
Which one is that?
LCTV,
Do we have?
LCT, yeah, I'll send it again.
Oh, is that the one you just sent
Yeah,
late today?
that has both of them.
All right, so we have to go into that. We'll have no TV and we'll do that one.
Right, and then after the executive session, we'll have to come back into the regular session. So sorry for all the switches, but we'll get there.
Hold on. So
You get lost.
I'm going to make sure I have.
Do we get extra pay for this?
Absolutely.
Now we get a 10% raise.
Yeah. I went to Littleton High School. I know 10% of nothing is still nothing.
Yeah, you got it.
Is everybody doing well? Everyone feeling good?
Were they giving out GEDs back then, Mike?
Oh, no. I got it through the GI Bill. The Army gave it to me. What are you kidding me? Come on.
Were you in the Army?
No, I wasn't in the Army. I worked for the Army, but I was never in it.
Was Littleton High School the #2 high school in the state back then?
No, I don't think so.
I'm not sure it is now either, but
Hey, we're close. We're close.
no, I think we were.
We're like that far away.
No, but what does that mean? I don't know.
It's only 100.
It's between the top 25. It's like 0.01%.
Yeah,
We're only 103 people in my whole class.
but it's still about that size.
That's about what they graduate with now.
Yeah.
Though. About the same.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my daughter was less.
a lot more, and then they drop.
Good. Delisa, you still have the same lipstick on from this afternoon.
I dyed my lips.
Is that what you? No, you did not.
Tattooed, Mike.
I heard most of your meeting. You did very good, by the way. I was telling Myron it's tough to do a Zoom meeting at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, I was a little concerned about your health, and your safety, obviously.
No, I did fine, and then I lost you guys, and I couldn't get you. I don't know. Maybe I went out of my Zoom area. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we thought you just got
It's like
bored.
15 minutes, but everything seems.
Zooming while you're driving, Mike. I'm pretty sure it's a criminal offense.
Well, you can zoom in. I was just talking. I wasn't watching it.
No, actually, Jerry, he was looking at the camera as well. It was really
No, I shut that part off.
frightening.
I shut that part off. Yeah,
That's the
Karen.
reason why they're trying to come up with robot drivers. Like that's stuff like that.
I wanted Karen to drive. She could have drove, and I could have done it, but she didn't want to
I
drive.
want you to give me your location on your phone so I know how to stay away from you on the road. Oh, here comes Mark. I'm leaving this exit.
No, I was trying to be, trying to kill two birds with one stone. Might not have been the correct word. I was trying to be two places at the same time. So, but we got through it. Everything's going well.
We set up, Maren, when did we set up the next meeting?
Well, Mark has to go through the checklist first.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have to do that now?
Yep.
No. I meant the Littleton station, but that's all right. All right.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
I'm focused on one thing here.
I know.
All right,
Get us through
Once
the
you're
right
done-
words.
once you're done with that, Myron, then I'll start the checklist.
I'm good.
Better start. You got 2 minutes.
All right, executive session posted as a topic for discussions on our meeting notice include as much detail but a proposed executive session as possible without compromising the purpose for which it was called. Public body convenes an open session, Mass General Law 30A. Chair, I'm announcing the purpose of the executive session is to discuss strategies with respect to litigation relative to an appeal of the Plnbrd's approval of the Wickham Ave wastewater treatment facility. The subjects may reveal without compromising the purpose for which the executive session was called. We're negotiating, the water department and the litigants are negotiating, so we'd like to go into executive session to discuss that. The public body will adjourn from the executive session and reconvene in open session after our executive session is done with the water department and the counsel for the water department. Having discussed an open session would have a detrimental effect to the public body's litigation position. I need a vote from everybody to go into executive session. So I'll ask you if you're okay with going into executive session. Jerry?
Yes.
Jeff? Nod your head, Jeff. Jeff? Yep, good. Hannah?
Yes.
Delisa?
Yes.
I'm affirmative. So we will leave this session and we will reconvene in a couple of minutes on the Zoom, the executive session Zoom link that Myron has sent to us all. And then we will return to our regular planning board session.
See ya.
With that,
Bye.
did I do as good as I could?
Awesome, Mike. You were beautiful.
Okay, see everybody in a couple of minutes. Leave.
Yeah.
Should penalize them if they're going to make money selling their house that they pay tax. I think part of the reason we're trying to do this is that there are a lot of older residents. Everybody knows what the market's like in Littleton. It's very hot, and they want to down if they're going to make money selling their house that they pay taxes on for their big old houses that have had them for 50 years, and now everybody knows what the market's.
Planned on hanging around for that.
I think
Ibria is here for that, for
all here. Hail the gangs. Oh, that where's Mara? Yes, there she is. All right, I see everybody. 6 of us. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. So we have an 8 o'clock continued public hearing, 151, 153 Taylor Street, major commercial, industrial, special use, water resource special district, and site plan Amazon last mile. We're going to continue that one till December 10th at 8 p.m. Entertain a motion to do that. Anybody? I think Anna said yeah. She said yes.
Yes.
All those in favor? Delisa?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yeah.
Yes. Anna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you all for a very strange evening.
Mark.
We'll see you next Thursday.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you, Maren.
Yep, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.